Welcome everyone to the 9 Principles of Spiritual Recovery channel on YouTube. I'm Ken Sanborn. Thank you for visiting and we hope you enjoy this video. Well, after a couple excursions off the beaten path, we're back to our channel introduction. So what can you expect from this channel? First off, we are going to have experiential learning activities. These are things that we put together as part of the channel. We can learn through your own experience working with the information as it's presented. In addition, we'll have shared experiences. Apparently, at this point, we'll be doing that through the community or the comment section. The community section of the channel is still being developed. Shouldn't take too long. But these shared experiences we'll be learning through the experiences of other people, including your presenter, in comparison with your own life experiences. So what's been going on with your presenter up until this point, which is June 2022? And additionally, what is the channel content schedule looking like? So what else is going on with me? Where have I come from? What am I not seeing? And what needs repairing? And these are 3 questions that I actually picked up from one of the YouTube tarot readers. She suggested using these 3 questions in working on developing a plan of change. And sounded okay to me. First off, where have I come from? And I'll just kind of put this over the context of the last 18 months. Before that, things were pretty good. The last year and a half has been a little challenging, to say the least. Basically, in a word, it's been stress, 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 and you guessed it, more stress. So this timeline goes from December 2020 to March 2021. In December 2020, right around Christmas, I found a crack in the skin on my left heel. Didn't think much of it. Dry skin in the winter here, where it gets cold in the wintertime. Tried some self-care. That didn't work. The wound worsened. In January of 2021, went to my primary care physician who referred me to a wound center. In February 2021, I was treated at the wound center. They thought I had a possible infection of the left foot. Referred me to an orthopedic podiatrist. In March 2021, I got that referral and actually saw the orthopedic podiatrist. In April of 2021, after being examined by the orthopedic podiatrist, I was hospitalized due to an infection and uncontrolled diabetes. And I was in the hospital for 2 weeks on antibiotics and insulin. I was discharged at the end of April and stayed with family after discharge. Didn't go home to my usual place where I was living. We had ended the domestic partnership that I was in. It was very sudden. I was in the hospital. I was told by the orthopedist that I was looking at a below-the-knee amputation, which scared the living hell out of me. There was no discussion of options or timeline for any of this, and in the hospital I had to arrange to move out after 9 years of living together and 20 years of friendship. May 2021 to August of 2021, I was staying with family while trying to resolve these medical issues after I get discharged. June 21 to August of 21, had a brief reconciliation with the ex-domestic partner. That ended. I had a medical setback, things got stressful, and that fell apart. August of 21 to January 2022, timeline there. About September, I started experiencing a series of falls, and I believe I had 3 or 4 of them over that time period. And the last one in December 2021 resulted in damage to the spinal nerves, and that was pretty significant. I had a real difficult time after that. Mobility was really challenged. There was quite a while where I wasn't moving much at all. In August of 21 till January 22, no contact with my former partner. Mutually resumed our friendship, if you want to call it that, via phone and text messages. From January until April of this year, I had a neurological evaluation back in January, and basically it is what it is. I had slow healing and improved feeling, started to feel like I could get back to semi-normal again. Started walking outside with a roller chair in March after the snow was gone and temperatures started to warm up. In April of 2022, after a couple of weeks of doing that every day, started to experience some severe leg and abdominal edema or swelling and joint pain, especially in my knees and ankles and hips. Also, my peripheral neuropathy returned with a vengeance. In April, ended the phone and text contact with former partner. Just wasn't going anywhere. We were talking about the same things over and over and over again. Didn't seem like I had much to offer. And because of the severe pain in my abdomen and legs from the fluid retention, I gained about 40 pounds in less than 2 months. Had limited mobility, not a whole lot of energy. While I was kind of down for the count, I started putting together these slideshows for videos for the 9 Principles of Spiritual Recovery YouTube channel. Actually started that back in early 2021, but had to stop due to health conditions back then and in this April. So in June of 2022, the edema and swelling started to be reduced. Lost about 30 pounds of fluid in about 3 weeks. Still got about 10 to go. Still a little abdominal swelling. Not sure what's causing that, but we'll get a line on that fairly quick, I think. Been able to walk with crutches or canes. Actually driven myself a few times. Very occasionally, though. I'm not back at it full time. And I did get back to work on the 9P's YouTube channel. And I think right now we've got 6 videos, something like that. This might be the 6th one, I'm not sure. And there's one of the slides from one of the first videos, I think first or second one. Good old YouTube. Appreciate the opportunity to have this medium to present on. It's actually very cool to me. So where have we come from here? Well, the never-ending pandemic has been the main story in the world for the past couple of years. It's impossible to avoid it. It seems to be everywhere. Although in the last couple of weeks I've noticed a lot less coverage. So maybe we're turning a corner with this thing. Or maybe it's just, COVID fatigue. Who knows? So the unrelenting TV coverage about the pandemic and the fact that everyone's been talking about viruses and vaccines and lockdowns and shortages and you name it, being worried about themselves and their loved ones, and it's created an extremely negative situation, one that's caused an incredible amount of damage and loss. And I'm sure my relationship of almost 10 years suffered because of the negativity. It was just day in, day out, nonstop. You couldn't get away from it. And it seems that as we record this video in June of 2022, Americans have absolutely tired of COVID coverage and the stress and all the related negativity. I know I'm tired of it, but it's been our reality for a long time now and continues to shape the way we live and relate to one another. In a real sense, the pandemic and the threats to our health, our family's health, and our relationships has caused a disconnection from one another. We'll have to work with intention, thoughtful planning to heal that disconnect. Now, according to the Centers for Disease Control, in May of 2022, the U.S. lost, get this, its 1 millionth person to COVID-19. That's more than double the number of Americans killed in World War II. Now think about that for a moment. It's in this absolutely insane number. And that's more than the individual populations of 6 of the 50 U.S. states. So second question, what am I not seeing currently? Well, kind of categorize these things as possibilities or probabilities. And possibilities would be 50-50 chance, even chance, might not. That's a possibility. Probability is a little better than 50%. We can't always put a number on it, but we can get a general idea based on our experience with similar situations and also taking a look around us to see what we might be able to bring to any kind of a possibility that would make it a probability. And some of these things that I'm looking at that maybe I'm not seeing, what's actually going on inside of my body. What diagnoses might I have that I don't know about? What diagnoses do I have that don't apply? What kind of treatment plans can I be looking at to address any of these diagnoses? What are my limitations or opportunities going forward? What do I have or don't have for resources, finances, that sort of thing? What are my limitations or opportunities related to work in the future? Living status, where am I going to be? That sort of thing. I guess depends a lot on what I end up doing for work and where I can actually afford to live. That's a consideration nowadays as well. And what are other people thinking or feeling about me and or my situation? What are their expectations related to my expectations? And what can I bring to the situation that would affect positive outcomes and positive results for everyone involved? I have family members who have been very good to me for a long time now, and I want to make sure that whatever I do is helpful to them. I'm very grateful for the help that they've given me, and I want to make sure that I'm not a burden on people going forward. And that's always a real consideration in these things. So the third question is, what needs repairing? And when I look at the 6 dimensions model of wellness, it kind of seems to me like everything in my life needs repairing, all 6 of these areas. But through self-assessment of what my situation is and developing some intentional planning, I can figure out where to use my somewhat limited energy to make life changes in each one of these areas of overall wellness. So again, we can use this 6 dimensions of wellness framework to identify and categorize stressors in life, and taken some time to look at each of these 6 areas and kind of list what my stressors might be in these areas. And some of these still apply quite a bit, some maybe not so much, but and when it comes to spirituality, I had this sense of disconnection from like-minded people for quite a while now, but I've been able to get on the computer to attend Zoom church, and also to kind of look at people on YouTube and connecting in a kind of disconnected way with those folks to continue to develop myself. So what else can we expect from this channel? We'll definitely have a discussion of the 9 principles of spiritual recovery. And again, these are 9 principles that came to me in an inspiration. They're not the only 9 principles or 9 practices of spiritual recovery, but they're the 9 that I've been given to work with. And considering it's taken me about 10 years to put this together, by the time I get done with the probably 70 or 80 of them that I've identified, I'll be about 120 years old. Don't believe I got that much time left on the planet. So we'll work with these 9 and we'll work from there. The stressors to behavior cycle, I've explained that in the first 2 videos. But this is kind of a process that we'll use to help us with our planning, self-assessment and planning. 6 dimensions of wellness, same deal there. Also looking at doing some book reviews on spiritual based books. Film reviews in the same manner. And also have a spiritual journey journal that we'll do occasional videos on to help you to kind of catalog and record and have available your thoughts about different spiritual related topics. In addition, we'll have guided meditation videos on different topics such as like stress and negative emotions, that sort of thing. We'll have occasional videos with messages from Spirit. We already have one of those posted. And generally, these are just things that I get as kind of a film strip that goes off. And I'll try my best to be as thorough with those as possible. If those things resonate, as the kids on YouTube say, go ahead and take it. If it doesn't resonate, leave it for somebody else. Guest presenters, I would love to have some of the folks who I know who are excellent practitioners, healers, mediums, those sorts of things. I have some folks that are really, really talented who I've met over the years and would love to share their thoughts, ideas with everybody. So they don't have to put together their own channel, but they could use ours to get those things across to folks, and you could all benefit from them. Also, we'll do some things around resources for spiritual self-study. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Spiritual practice, we'll do some focus study topic videos. And we'll also, like I said before, try to develop a spiritual community where we can learn from each other and teach each other. And we'll use the 9 principles of spiritual recovery that we've identified to help us create change and growth plans to develop spiritual practices. These 9 principles are all connected in a holistic approach to building spiritual practices and not a linear or step program. Nothing wrong with step programs. This just isn't one of them. Each principle or practice can be worked on at the same time as any others. It's been my experience that I'm always working on one or more of these principles at the same time, generally more than one, none being any more important than the others. The 9 principles we'll be working with in alphabetical order. are reauthorization, reciprocation, reconciliation, reconnection, rededication, redemption, reformation, resolution, and restoration. And again, these 9 principles aren't all the spiritual principles that exist, but they are the ones I've been inspired to use. There are dozens, again, that I've identified, but these are the ones we're going to start with. I'll also use the stressors to behavior cycle framework to identify where we are in our change and growth process and where we might intervene and adjust our plans. And each one of the arrows you see in this circle, this cycle, is a spot where we could kind of stop, adjust, and move forward. It's a place where we can kind of take a look at what we're doing, whether it's working for us or not, and if we need to make a change in plan, make a change in plan. None of this is set in stone. Beautiful thing. And again, we can use the 6 dimensions of wellness model to categorize our stressors in order to develop our change and growth plans. Some other things that you can expect from the channel. Occasionally we'll do a spiritual book review. A lot of books out there, that some of them that I've read and some that I haven't read and would like to read. And basically I am by temperament and training a skeptic, kind of a prove it to me type when it comes to spirituality. Louise Hay's work connecting physical health problems and emotional bases seemed a little out there to me at the beginning, but over the years I've seen proof that those ideas have validity, like anger leading to bile-related problems in organs like the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, spleen. And my leg edema, or the swelling problems I had, made movement very difficult. Even sitting and lying down were painful. And Louise connects edema with, quote, not being able to let something or someone go, which sounded about right to me. When I made a decision a little while back to let some things go, the edema symptoms decreased and I lost 30 pounds of fluid in about 3 weeks. All of that being water, which I associate, and most people do, with emotions. And in this case, anger, sadness, worry, loss, grief, all of those things. So I'm a believer. The book Another Chance, Sharon Webshiter Cruz, describes family roles in families that are facing mental health and addiction problems. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, that's a classic on Toltec wisdom. Most people have heard that one. I've read that. Very good book. Many Lives, Many Masters, Brian Weiss, deals with his experiences with patients in reincarnation. And other books we may do book reviews on. Some of these here. Codependent No More, Melody Beatty, very popular book. One of the issues I have with the idea of codependence from my training in addiction treatment is it seems like codependence and interdependence are used almost interchangeably, when in my training codependence really means a situation in which a person is dependent on someone else's addiction or mental health condition in order to have their own needs fulfilled, control, being valued, being needed, that sort of thing. Healing Anger, Power of Patience by the Dalai Lama is an excellent book. I've developed a study course to go along with that, which I taught a few times. It's very intense, but very good book. The Yoga of Jesus by Paramahansa Yogananda is a brief version of the 2-volume masterpiece, Second Coming of Christ. Asking It Is Given is a classic on manifesting one's desires which is part of our stressors to behavior cycle. And that's Esther and Jerry Hicks. That's a very popular, well-known book as well. In addition, we'll do some film reviews that have spirituality as a core issue, core subject. The Secret, Five People You Meet in Heaven, The Way, and What the Bleep Do We Know? We'll start with The Way. It stars Martin Sheen. It was directed by his son Emilio Estevez, who does a cameo in it. It's a great film. I've watched it at least a dozen times. It's very, very well done. Interesting story. The Secret is a study on the law of attraction, also very interesting. Mitch Albom's book, The Five People You Meet in Heaven, is the basis for this film. Interesting take on things like reincarnation, soul contracts, natural law of cause and effect, other things. Quite a lot packed into a short book. And What the Bleep Do We Know? One of the first spiritual type movies that I ever watched, and very interesting look at modern spirituality and its relationship to the so-called hard sciences, physics, that sort of thing. Other films, take a look at Gandhi, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, The Jerk, and Celestine Prophecy. Some films may not seem to be spiritual, although in The Jerk and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, we have films that use the variations on the hero's journey as the main plot, in which a fairly young, in these films, male character goes out into the world, faces challenges and tests, gathers valuable knowledge of some sort, and then brings it back to the people in his home area so they can benefit from it. The Celestine Prophecy is based on the book of the same name about a particular seeker's spiritual journey. And Gandhi is a great biopic about one of the most unlikely but significant spiritual leaders in human history. Also take a look at some spiritual thinkers. And one of my favorites is William Walker Atkinson. He was born in 1862, died in 1932. He actually shares a birthday with my dad, December 5th. Some of the books that he authored under his own name, The Law of the New Thought. He was associated with the New Thought philosophy. Secrets of Mind Power, a bunch of other books that he wrote under the name of William Walker Atkinson, mental kind of processes. He also wrote under the pseudonym of Yogi Ramacharaka. One of the books that I really got a lot from was 14 Lessons in Yogi Philosophy and the Science of Breath. He also wrote under a bunch of other names. He was a very prolific writer. The next thing, we'll talk about the Spiritual Journey Journal. These are opportunities to write about spirituality, record your thoughts and your feelings. What do you think about recovery? What do you want? What things do you want to change? That sort of thing. And in the future, depending on good old YouTube analytics, we'll talk and maybe do some YouTube shorts. These are videos that are less than a minute long, and I know after some of the ones that we've had that have been quite long, relatively, these are going to be real quick hitters. It could be about topics like biographies, isms, Hinduism, Buddhism, that sort of thing, special topic type things. Also, down the road, we'd like to do some live streams with some of those special guests I was talking about. And also, any suggestions anyone ever has, just for the time being, put them in the comments section if you would, and we'll take a look at those. And again, just Kind of please be kind. This is free after all. Nobody here is claiming to be an expert on anything. And as far as the content schedule goes, I'll post things as I'm able to produce new content around my health situation. And I thank you all for being patient with this. I think we've turned the corner. With any luck, knock on wood. There we go. So thank you for visiting and watching this video through to the end. It was a little longer than I expected. If you found anything interesting or valuable in it, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, signing up for notifications, and sharing this video with like-minded friends, family. Until next time, peace, love, and honey dip donuts for everyone, except for me. No more honey dip donuts for this guy.